KPFK Los Angeles. You're on the air with, I almost said Alan Watts. You're on the air with Elliot Mintz.
Hello, Roy. Hello, Elliot. How are you tonight?
Feel grand.
Fantastic. This is one of those really interesting experiences because I've been listening to Roy since the early 80s, since I was in junior high school. And out of all nights I tune into the show, Elliot is on here again. And I believe I listened to the show in which you last appeared in the mid-'80s. Are you sure it was 1982? Because I have a cassette from 1985 in which you're on the show.
It might be. I just looked up in the Pacifica archives, and there was a 1982 there, and I thought that our Iranian call was the last one, but that was 1979, so then I figured maybe the last one was 1982. If there's a 85, then our last show might have been 1985. It's still...
Yeah, I do have a cassette that, unless it was a recording of an earlier appearance, cassette that I recorded in 1985 that was actually a very treasured cassette of mine because it was a wonderful program.
Bless you.
Over and over again.
And as you've noticed, nothing changes.
It's very familiar. The only big difference, in which I was disappointed to find out upon earlier listening to the program, is in that particular program, you guys did share a bottle of wine on the air.
Yes.
You invited the listeners to share it with you. So
it's a tremendous disappointment to me as well, of course. But Roy acquainted us with the law, and it would cost us $250,000.
So much for another pledge drive to cover that.
However, it's an interesting premise for a pledge drive. But I do miss that, and I can also tell that A, you do enjoy an occasional glass, and B, you're Canadian.
Actually, I'm not Canadian. I'm actually born and raised here in Los Angeles.
Have you ever spent any time in Canada or been married to or had a girlfriend who's Canadian?
No, I've wanted to go to Canada, but my wife is Peruvian descent.
Peruvian?
Yeah.
I thought I heard you say the word O-U-T as oot. Oat.
Oh, I don't know. Not that I'm consciously aware of.
So, just say it once for us. As in, put it in a sentence.
How now about brown cow?
No, that sounded fairly American. But I just detected the O-U-T. It's just me and language.
Well, interesting observation. But
an incorrect one, but nevertheless, an interesting one.
Well, very well. But I'm very thrilled to catch this show tonight because, as I stated earlier, listening to Roy all of these years, and also that particular show, was the first time I was introduced to you, Elliot. And of course, I've been a fan for years since then. Watching your videos on YouTube and hearing your, the Lost Hunting tapes. 2 weeks ago, I discovered your website. It finally went up, and I've been going through the interviews. And thank you very much for finally putting that up and sharing all of your interviews with us. And
you're welcome. May I ask you a question?
Yes.
What's your first name?
My first name is Mark. I'm sorry.
Mark. Yes. Since 1982, 83, whenever it was that you first heard me here talking with Roy, 30 years has gone by, how's it been for you? How has your life journey been?
I heard you touch on that earlier. Actually, quite mystical, magical, I guess. When I first heard you with Roy, I was in high school, a student, I believe, a junior, sophomore in high school, and I was still in a very impressionable age. Learning a lot of things, like listening to Alan Watts and Babylon Das and Patricia Stein, and Roy would play them. And, it was quite enlightening to have, KPFK and, shows like Roy's on the air.
What did you do professionally during these past 25 years?
Oh, actually, post-high school, a lot of time wasting and, retail jobs. But 10 years ago, I went back to school, got a professional license. I'm a licensed psychiatric technician with the state of California.
A licensed psychiatric technician. Tell me what that means.
So basically, it's a glorified title for a nurse who works in a psychiatric setting.
In other words, you would work in what we would refer to as a psychiatric hospital?
Yes. Yeah.
Hard work.
And the people that you deal with on a daily basis, they're patients that cannot voluntarily leave the facility?
I work in a few facilities, and in some of them, yes, they could not leave due to legal reasons.
When you're among them,
yes.
People, are we talking, by the way, about people who have what we call, for lack of a better title, serious mental disabilities, or are they mildly disturbed, or are you dealing with people who really would have difficulty being among the general population without creating a possible danger to the society or to themselves? Which group are we talking about?
I worked with a wide range of individuals, from mildly afflicted to those who would be a danger to the general public.
Do you ever get a chance to try and speak with one-on-one, to say hello in there? Or do you concern yourself primarily with the administrative work that goes with your work?
No, actually, I was very open and forward with the patients. That was one of my gifts, is that I'm very patient with people, and I got along well with a lot of them. I talked to them as human beings. I didn't particularly enjoy the administrative end, all the paperwork. I found it more rewarding to deal with patients one-on-one as human beings, and that's what got me through those days in which that weren't so easy.
Did you ever come away from a conversation saying to yourself, I've just spoken to somebody who has been diagnosed as being mad, criminal, sociopath, psychopath, whatever it might be?
Mm-hmm.
Will you come away from the experience saying, beyond all the stuff, the evaluation, what they may have been accused of doing, etc., beyond all the therapy, that you found a camaraderie, a sense of you through them? Or did you always see where your experience ended and theirs began?
No, on many occasions I felt tremendous empathy with a lot of the patients who were there. Many I saw as simply being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I told a few of them that. Some who had no previous, troubles with the law or anything in that nature. Reading the reasons we were there, there were a few who I felt, just got emotional at the wrong place at the wrong time in front of the wrong people. And I thought that was their only crime, really.
You are a very empathetic man, and I am delighted that somebody of your degree of sensitivity is working with those who may have lost their way along the path. I wish you well.
Thank you. I mean, because I empathize because I'm not a perfect person. There's a lot of, damage in my background, and every day I try to deal with it and living my life and trying to, live a good life and be good to the people around me.
It's one of the things we can learn from madness. I recall that line from the movie Lenny, The Life of Lenny Bruce, starring Dustin Hoffman, when he was being taken away by the bailiffs, and he screamed back at the judge, "You don't understand, you need that madman in the corner."
Yeah.
It's a confirmation of our own humanity. I wish you well, Mark.